call this meeting to order. If the clerk will please call the roll.
Counselor Johnson?
Present.
Counselor Halverson? Here. Counselor Arnold? Present. Counselor Moore? Present. Counselor Hildebrand?
Present.
Counselor Kevin?
Here.
Oropesa?
Here.
Counselor Korn?
Here.
Counselor Marujo?
Here.
Counselor Jennings? Mayor Jennings?
Got some more already? They did that to me, you know, if you remember. They gave me a paper to sign that I was gonna be a counselor. Then I wouldn't get to vote. I would've got to vote with you guys.
We miss your votes.
Yeah, we had a better chance. Okay, we're gonna have the prayer today by Counselor Marujo, and Counselor Moore will lead us in the pledge, please. Please rise.
Thank you.
We'll pray first.
Yeah. Father God, I come before you and give you all glory and honor, Father God. We ask you to give us wisdom in our decisions tonight, Father God. We ask you also for the city of Los Angeles, Father God, the fires they're having, Father God. We ask you to protect our first responders, our police officers, state, nationwide, Father God. For our leaders and our government, Father God. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Counselor, for a great prayer. And you know, as the world turns, and as small as it is, funny thing that happened. One of my brother's roommates at Notre Dame was a guy that beat out Joe Willie for the Heisman Trophy, and his name was
Think of the later name.
But he won the Heisman Trophy from Notre Dame and John Hewer. And when you talk about the fire, Mr. Hewitt has been very successful. He owns a company called Arizona Tile, and they have a warehouse in LA and they have one in Houston. But he was my brother's roommate one year while at Notre Dame, and he's been to Roswell a number of times with us, and he would always come to my parents here for their birthdays. But his Heisman Trophy probably, and 4 of his 5 children lost their houses in that fire in the Pacific Palisades. And so it's what a small world it is, but your prayer is online, and we never know what's going to happen. But you know, we've been through our own disaster, and I can't tell people enough what a tribute it is to be a leader in the city of Roswell and watch how our people have helped each other and put us all through that flood and that disaster. Now the people part comes now. It's going to be crazier and crazier, is trying to figure out how to pay for what we got to put back. But it's been good, and it's we have to always look. And Counselor Kevin, his son, you know, was injured. He's going to start Sunday, he said, back to work. It's been a long thing for him, but you know, we're really proud of him and his stance and how well he's taken his numerous surgeries he's had since his illness, or since his altercation. But we're glad to have him back. So there's a lot of blessings to go around in this world today, and we're very, very happy for that. Okay, so next we have on the first thing we have is for approval of the agenda. And Councilman Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve the agenda for the January 9th, 2025 regular city council meeting with the following changes. Item 3, ratification of award to Stantec off the consent agenda and place it after item 8, which is the consent a Indian service presentation to be put on the record agenda. And I move the following items to the consent agenda. Item 11, which is a college investments located at 414 East College to enter into a one-year lease agreement. And item 13, the appointment of the Roswell Museum Board of Trustees for Katie Huber for position 8.
Second.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion before us to amend that. Councilman Corn.
Could I get Pro Tem to tell me what he's doing with item 3 again?
It's in,
It's going on the regular agenda.
yes, and I believe Councilman Corn had expressed some concern that there's a, this needs to be, not to just remove it from today's agenda and take it off, and place it in, on the next council meeting? Is that correct, Councilman?
No, send it back to finance.
Well, you place it on the next council meeting or move it to finance is fine.
Okay.
And that's what, there appears to be a problem with that item, and Councilman Corn will have to tell you.
It's just a $723.64 problem, Mr. Mayor. And
It's in here.
it just, it was explained right that in finance committee, but that's not what's reflected here tonight. And we need to keep the record as clear as we possibly can. The work's going to continue. It's already under process, and it just needs to be cleared up so the record's straight.
Councilman Elderbrand.
Councilor Corn, is that an item that we could clear up here tonight without it being delayed?
I don't have proper language in front of me to fix it the way it needs to be fixed.
We can just say fix it now and move on. But
Well, what I thought, I've got some language here, it's lengthy. Whatever you want to do, the work's going to continue. It's just the funding sources are a little different, and we could ask Tony, she's sitting there. I just got this just a little bit ago. I knew about it before, but I didn't understand, did somebody need to have proper language? So.
okay, so I'll re-amend my amendment. So be, Councilor.
I'm good with it.
So we will remove item 3 and place it back to the finance committee.
That would be the cleanest way to handle it.
Okay, Councilor. With all the other items being as amended previously.
Okay, is there any objection to amending the motion to pull item 3 from the ratification, and the consent agenda and place it back to the finance committee? Is there any objection to that being the amended motion we're on now? Seeing none, the clerk will have that as our amended motion. Okay, so any further changes on the motion? And that would be to pull item 3 and then move item 11 and 13 to the consent agenda. Okay, if there's no objection, if the clerk could call the roll.
Counselor Johnson?
Yes.
Counselor Halverson?
Yes.
Counselor Arnold?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
Yes.
Counselor Hildebrand?
Aye.
Counselor Cavan?
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa?
Yes.
Counselor Corn?
Yes.
Counselor Marujo?
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
Okay. Thank you. Now we'll do item 2. See, to approve the approval of the consent agenda. as amended. Councilman Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve the consent agenda as amended for the January 9, 2025 regular city council meeting.
Second. A motion by Councilman Hildebrand, seconded by Councilman Cavan. Is there any objection or comments? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Johnson?
Yes.
Counselor Halverson?
Yes.
Counselor Arnold?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
Yes.
Counselor Hildebrand?
Aye.
Counselor Cavan?
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa?
Yes.
Counselor Corn?
Yes.
Counselor Marujo?
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
Okay, so that would put us on item uh, 7. And we have airport updates. Ms. Thompson?
Well, good evening, Mayor and distinguished council members. And I will promise to keep it short, Mayor. I'll speak on the airport update, and then Mr. Kunkel will report from the Airport Advisory Commission meeting. First of all, I think some of you may have noticed it snowed outside. So today was a very busy day with snow plowing. Thankfully, we had access to the DOT equipment. We had 7 pieces of equipment running from about 5:30 this morning. We were finally able to get the longer 321 runway open at 2 o'clock this afternoon, although it still does have some moisture and everything on it, and braking action is limited, but we've so noticed it to pilots. We were supposed to have our second of the week visit from school children. On Monday, we had children from the 6th grade at the Military Institute, and we were supposed to have more today and tomorrow, but since school was canceled for a snow day, that didn't happen, but we'll be happy to get that rescheduled because we were supposed to have 50 kids throughout the week, and we only got 12 done so far. We're working on the master plan. A couple of you were involved with the technical advisory committee on the master plan. There'll be a survey monkey going out from the engineers for a couple of dates for you to look at, to do the final review and look at the alternatives and have discussion on that. The dates they're looking at are the 4th or the 8th within February, and that'll be the final step before it goes to the FAA for approval. And as you may know, things have to be in the master plan, identified in the master plan as projects in order for them to get funded. And our 5-year CIP capital improvement plan is $17 million, so we certainly want to keep that moving forward. Now, we obviously all would like to see it warmer outside. I especially would like to see it warmer outside because we have a number of great projects that are scheduled to happen that have already been funded. One of the first ones to start will be the loading pit for the BLM, which we know is very important going forward. They hope to have that done, the notice of award and notice to proceed have been done, and we're hoping to have that completed well before fire season starts this year. The second BLM project will be the new taxiway for those folks. That one, if you remember, had actually been bid out before, but the bids came in so much higher than the engineering estimates. We had to go back to get more money to fund that, which we now have received that money, and that's a $7 million project for that taxiway, which will also happen this year. Additional pavement this year will happen in front of the terminal and to the ramp to the north of that terminal. We have a great deal of cement that needs to be fixed. Several of the blocks need work. A lot of crack sealing needs to be done and joint work. Very detailed plans on that, and will be done in sections. This is phase 2 of that project. That will be done in sections so that it will not interfere with any of the airline or other traffic coming in. One very nice silver lining is that we had a lot of asphalt, as you saw in town. Some of the asphalt in town lifted up with the floodwaters and went places it shouldn't be. Well, we had the same problem in some of the ramp areas, but fortunately that ramp had already been included in this project, so that will be fixed as part of this project, so we didn't have to worry about FEMA money for that one. We also have been working on the lighting on the airport, the electrical bulb is coming in at, next phase of that is for $2 million. That electrical vault will coordinate all the runway lights for both runways in one location, and it replaces those lights, which those lights were actually installed in 1957. So it's time to improve those, make them better, and it will certainly improve airport operations and safety. And that is the extent of my short report, Mr. Coppell.
Thank you. Mr. Conkle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mayor Jennings and Roswell City Councilors. I'll be updating you this evening on several items of importance on Air Center activities. The AAC held our January meeting on Tuesday, January the 7th. We had some Air Center tenants at the meeting, including AvFlight, who made a presentation during our meeting about their current activities at the Air Center. One important thing of interest, especially to the general aviation tenants, is that AvFlight now has a full-time aircraft mechanic on their staff. This has been a problem for well over a year, and the Air Center is pleased that they now have provided aircraft maintenance services. This is in compliance with AvFlight's contract with the city. In addition to tenants being present at our meeting, Councilor Korn and Councilor Hildebrand, City Manager Cole, Attorney Antemna, and Mayor Jennings were also present. We appreciate your attendance, and we continue to encourage other city officials to attend our meeting. Revenues for December again exceeded expenses by $67,808. July through December, the first half of the current fiscal year showed a net income of $296,557. That's not a lot of profit for an enterprise as large as the Air Center, but it is a profit. Passenger boardings for December were 6,021 compared to 3,486 in December of 2023. From May 2024 through December 2024, since Roswell has instituted 3 flights per day, departures have been an average of 5,520 per month, compared to the previous year of 3,436 departures per month. That's a little over a 60% increase in the last 7 months, which speaks well for Roswell and the surrounding areas for support of our air service that we provide here. Air Center operations over the last 7 months have consistently been higher in 2024 compared to 2023 by approximately 11%. This is expected to again increase significantly in February, March, and April of this year when the United States Navy returns to Roswell with more pilot classes than last year and for a longer period of time. This will not only benefit the Air Center and its operations, but will again significantly benefit the local hotels and restaurants. This is an annual benefit having the United States Navy here due to the good flying weather that Roswell provides. Aircraft parking totals were not yet available, but should be still in the range of 215 to 225 parked aircraft. Strategic plan updates were provided for the fourth quarter of 2024 and first quarter of 2025. One of the more important items noted was progress made to hire a new Air Center director. 22 applications have been received. One applicant has been scheduled for an interview. Hopefully, our interview process is successful. The Air Center Part 139 inspection with the FAA was accomplished last week and passed with flying colors. This is an annual inspection. The final 2023 wind damage claims, pardon me, wind damage claims and construction repairs are expected to be completed by the end of January. The master plan will hopefully proceed as Bobby had indicated, since the NACAR layout plan for the air races has been received by the FAA and will hopefully be approved soon. The new electrical vault for runway lighting is expected to be bid by the end of January. Bobby mentioned this, and with a July-August timeframe completion for construction. Molson Corbin Engineering reports the drawings for terminal restroom improvements and the auxiliary generator are in process and will hopefully be completed by the end of February. The grandstands for the NACAR are proceeding with design completed and parts being ordered. This is currently ahead of schedule for an end of August completion update prior to the air races. Reimbursement for terminal repairs from the flood damage are awaiting resolution between the city and our insurance carriers. Don Fisher with Airport Security reported that all erosion around the perimeter fence from the flood has been addressed and TSA is satisfied with the repairs. In addition, the new TSA required badging is mostly complete. Off-site personnel that are not on the Air Center full-time still have some badging requirements. Omar Gonzalez, who has recently been promoted to Deputy Director of the RAC, reported that RAC perimeter fencing is all satisfactorily repaired. Rent abatement for the Walker Aviation Museum for $1,468.64 was voted on by the commission and approved. This rent abatement is due to the flood damage to the museum. A discussion was held referenced the granite memorial to be dedicated to the 8 men who died during construction of the 12 ICBM Atlas missile silos built around Roswell. This memorial is being fully funded by Sue Kritz from El Paso. Sue is an author who became involved in this project and felt it was important to recognize the 8 construction workers that were killed. The dedication of the monument is scheduled for February the 16th at 1:30 in the afternoon in front of the terminal building. It is to be a 5-foot tall, inscribed black granite monument in the general shape of the unit patch of the Air Force unit that manned the missile silos. The commission voted unanimously to allow this monument to be placed in between the flagpole and the existing Walker Air Force Base monument in front of the terminal. A discussion was also held referencing the possibility of charging parking fees at the Air Center. This subject has not recently been a matter of discussion to anyone's recollection. After some positive and some negative aspects were discussed, it was decided to have the Air Center Director provide information back to the Commission at our March meeting, reference possible costs involved, possible income expected, and a possible plan to initiate parking fees. It is estimated that this discussion could be over the next several months before the AAC makes any recommendation to the council. Mike Espiritu provided an update on NACAR. This coming week, 2 aircraft for each racing class will be in Roswell to evaluate the new race course. Yes, Roswell, the air races are coming. This concludes my presentation, and I stand for any questions.
Do we have any questions of Mr. Campbell? Councilors?
I have a comment.
Yes.
I just wanted to thank you, Mr. Kunkel. Remind everyone that the whole council is invited to the dedication of that granite monument on the 16th of February.
That's correct.
You know what time?
1:30.
1:30?
1:30, in front of the terminal.
Hey, Mr.
Yes.
The grandstands, they're on target? ahead
They're
of
actually
target,
ahead of schedule.
Ahead of schedule.
I know that's hard to believe,
No, that's great.
but that's a good thing.
I sleep better now.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's why I told them, just so you can sleep better.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Campbell, for your time.
Thank you.
Ms. Thompson, did you want to correct him on anything?
She probably does.
There's just some follow-up. The importance of that date of February 16th and the time of 1:30 is because that will be 60 years to the exact time when that incident occurred. So that was very important timing. And then on the Navy, that's 30 aircraft, 150 sorties per day for 3 months. So it's quite a bit of activity. So thank you.
Did we get the other, they were looking at bringing another group of naval aviators here from Florida. Are they coming or?
We haven't scheduled anything. We do know that NATO has added 2 more periods that they'll be here, which doubled what they originally planned.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next we have constituent services presentation. Ms. Williams? You here?
Mr. Mayor, she's doing it via phone.
Oh, via phone?
Yes.
Okay. You want to come back to her later? No?
No, we're ready. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Excellent. Hello, Mayor Jennings and city council members. Now you can?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. So my name is Constance Williams, and I'm Senator Ben Randy Tom's still representative in the Portales office. I would like to give my apologies to the association. It's just known as that's where I live, and also in Portales. But I definitely wanted to reach out to y'all at the beginning of the year and just kind of do a short constituent services presentation to let y'all know about some of the office services that we have. And so I'm need to make a couple corrections to this. I actually am a licensed clinical social worker now, as LMSW, which is a licensed master social worker on the slide. But at the end of December, I actually got my clinical license, and so I am a clinical social worker. And we can go ahead and move forward to the next slide. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Senator Lujan. I've actually worked for him since a few weeks before the pandemic. I actually originally met him on the House side as a graduate student and a constituent attending a roundtable on behavioral health needs in eastern New Mexico. And I think a lot of times that people don't think that government is accessible necessarily, but I really think my experience is that you have to engage it. I don't know if a lot of people know, but Senator Lujan is from northern New Mexico in Mount Bay, and he actually does, is largely tied to the land, just like a lot of people in the Roswell area. And so he started off as a congressional House representative in CD3, which is the area that I lived in. And like I said, in 2020, he actually won the Senate side, or won the Senate race, and has now been a Senate representative for 4 years. So we can go ahead and move to the next slide. So I want to talk a little bit about constituent services, and this slide kind of talks about how we are broke down into areas with public federal agency, helping to build policy, legislative correspondence, federal grant searches, letters of support, and then academy nominations. And a lot of you may be familiar with the academy nomination process because you have Nimi there. My colleague Angela Champion and Brian Lee actually do a lot in that space. And usually in April, we start the interview process for academy nominations, and then, or start the outreach process, I should say, and then the interview process usually occurs in November. So talk a little bit about help with a federal agency. This really breaks down into casework across the board. These different areas we help in that space. And so when we talk about help with a federal agency, that may be individuals who need contact with specific agencies on different needs. It's, there's multiple federal agencies. And so legislative correspondence. As a field worker working for Senator Lujan, I'm in 7 different counties. That's Curry, Roosevelt, Tobacco, Clay, Eddie, Chavez, and Lee. And so during my outreach situations or presentations like this, or whether or not it's going to be in meeting out with individual organizations and things, a lot of times we kind of find that correspondence leads to casework. And so there may be times where there's a need that an individual has, and it may be in the legislative world, and so that's where sometimes a lot of casework or legislative casework feeds itself. And so also there's the federal grant searches. I think that a lot of people may not know, but New Mexico has a congressional delegation that has a grants correspondence or grants coordinator that's specific to New Mexico. And so all the 8 offices hold this position. His name is Greg Canado. He's actually from Roswell, and he basically kind of helps with the grant search process, which really lifts the burden off of individuals and organizations that are trying to seek out federal grants. That it's a cumbersome process, and so the agency that may need help kind of has some additional assistance through the congressional delegation, so they don't necessarily have to look for all of those grants. And so that really comes down to filling out a form and kind of talking about what projects you want to lift off the ground. Greg works on that, and 2 to 3 weeks later, he's able to find grants that may work in that space. And so I think that those are some of the ways that people that are in the audience may think that this would be helpful for them. We can go to the next one. So as a social worker, I really, truly enjoy working for Senator Lujan because he really allows us the space to help people. Instead of some people who say, why would we help in this space, he really says, why not? And so not all of the members of Congress choose to have a constituent services process within their office. It really is up to the member of Congress. And so, we do. And on the House side, coming onto the team, I've learned that he had some of the highest caseloads in the House of Representatives. And whenever we came to the Senate side, his Constituent Services Director, her name is Pam Garcia, she really brought that framework onto the Senate, and it's really been helpful to have that as a way to move forward with a lot of stuff. And so there are different spaces in which we, operate, whether or not it's going to be Social Security, Veterans Administration, immigration, passports, or federal land management. You can go to the next one. So how can we help? Navigating bureaucracy. Sometimes it's the casework inquiry process, I guess you would say, is very simple in that we just need a release of information from the individual who has contacted us saying, hey, we want your help on this matter, and then, writing a letter about that. Sometimes it can be whether or not individuals are truly getting the benefits that they have applied for. In the PACT Act specifically, that's one of the things that I've recently found out, that legislation that was intended in a certain process in a certain way has not necessarily come out to be, and it's been a little bit cumbersome for constituents who should have this entitlement that is, in the perceived exposure for their military service. And so sometimes there may be issues or questions that individuals have with a specific agency, and so we work to get that. And really, like I said, we ask for a letter from the constituent to say, what it is that they're seeking help on. Sometimes that can be an obstacle because maybe there might be individuals who do not necessarily know how to, write, or they don't have that, possibly illiterate. And so we've had obstacles in that space. But what we try to do, and me specifically, is reach out to our pastors or other people in the family to see, hey, can you help this individual write this letter or get this information, so that, like I said, we can reach out to the agency. And you go to the next one. Social Security is one of the main agencies that we work with. Like I said, there's Veterans Administration, there's all of those different entities, but it's like when people apply for disability, it could be months before they've heard something, or maybe, they're not getting the responsiveness that they would hope so, and so we will check on status, we'll be able to follow up on a lot of stuff, and just kind of help streamline processes for individuals. And so if people need help with any of these spaces, like I said, we definitely will follow up with that agency. I know it can be frustrating sometimes when you call and you're on hold, and it's probably gotten better since COVID times, but there were times where everything was kind of backed up, and so it's good to be able to have this as a congressional inquiry. It's able to, hopefully get a little bit streamlined and get responses so that people have the information that they need to move forward with the things that they need to do. You can go to the next one. The Department of VA is another case agency that we work with on a regular basis. Applying for that, either whether or not it's going to be through like a VSO in the local office or people doing it online. Again, sometimes it just kind of gets snagged up. And so recently at the end of the year, I had mentioned earlier about the PACT Act, this individual thought that his experience in an aviation role essentially allowed for the understanding that, hey, his medical diseases that he was dealing with should be exempt, should be taken on as understood that he received that through his exposure. And so we're working on a case like that. I don't know, the Roswell Daily Record, I don't know if they carried this article, but I know the Eastern New Mexico News did, in which there was a Office of Inspector General, report in which they found that a lot of the VA workers were not necessarily trained in the PACT Act, the new legislation, and so a lot of the cases that people had filed under this PACT Act were not being handled appropriately. member. So if you know anybody who maybe filed for PAC Act benefits or believe that they should be included in that kind of sphere, or just in general needing help navigating the VA, please have them reach out to our office because we will definitely work on that for them. Again, we just need a letter from them about what that need is, what they're experiencing, and how they want it resolved, and then a release information asking us to work on that for them. And you go to the next one.
Ma'am?
Another
Ma'am?
thing,
Ma'am, Ms. Williams,
Ms. Williams.
just ask her, just would, try to rush it a little bit because we want to get out before the roads freeze.
Yes, he's just asking to rush it a little bit so we can get out before the roads get bad.
okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the grant searches, this is another place in which we are able to help out. If you are interested in that, please reach out to our office. We send out weekly grants advisory. And then casework outcomes, you can read that. It's just basically allows for people to talk about how our office has been able to help them. And it really can be a range of different things. Congressionally directed spending is one of the things that we utilize as part of, grants is one way that the federal government funds, and then congressionally directed spending. Right now, we are going to be moving forward as if this will be an option that comes through. Generally, we'll reach out in March of the year to kind of see what projects you're wanting to get going. And then we can go to the next one. Sorry. The ways that you're able to stay in touch, you can reach out to us through all the different social media projects, but we have the office in Portales, and if you need anything, please let me know. My phone number is on the last slide of the, or my cell phone number is on the last slide of this presentation. It's 575-825-9804. And it's essentially, you can reach out to me, let me know if you're needing help, and we can start up a email chain, or I can come out to Roswell or the surrounding areas in Chavez and come and meet up with you about what your needs are. So I thank you, Mayor Jennings, and Commissioner, or Council members, excuse me, for your time, and I'll stand for any questions if you have any.
Can you provide us a copy of these?
Yeah.
Yes, I will put one in your boxes.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your, Ms. Williams, for your testimony. We're just a little rushed because it's freezing here. We've got a lot of snow. We're trying so we can get this in before the roads freeze when they go home. So, but thank you.
I completely understand.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Thank you.
Y'all take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Next, we have public participation on agenda items and non-agenda items. I have people I have Mr. Caleb Cortez here to speak on zoning case number 9. You can either speak now or you can speak during that case, whatever you choose.
Whenever
Well,
works this.
It's fine, if whatever you want to do, it's next.
Okay,
So
I'll do it when the case is called.
okay, then we have James Edwards is here for MLK. James, welcome.
Hi. Mr. Mayor, distinguished councilwomen, councilmen, my name is James Edwards. I live at 208 South Stand. I guess I'm doing this properly. We usually put on a Martin Luther King MLK Day out at Eastern, and we've been doing it for the last 5 years. And I've been tasked with putting this on, and I went through and I passed out an invitation to follow the crowd. And I encourage you to all show up. We have a community college board meeting, and I can be pushy at times. I would like to see all community college board members there, as well as city councilors, county commissioners, and the leadership of Chavez County to be present at our event. And I have some invitations here that I would like to leave with you or pass out to you. In the past, we've had counselors show up. And it's good, it's important to come out and support these events, whether they're being put on by the city, the county, the college, because we work together. We have to work together. And, you know, with the flood that we had recently, I was real pleased with what I saw because the Styles football field is located over in that area, and that area got hit bad, very bad. The people that could least afford it got hit the hardest. But we saw people out there helping out. So, you know, that's what MLK stood for, unity, uniting people. And, you know, so I've come today to leave some invitations, and I encourage you to show up because I've seen a couple of you council members and ladies at our event. It's an hour and 15 minutes, which is not a whole lot of time to give. It's a short time to give for a good day. And so I have some invitations. I don't know who can pass them out or if I can come up and leave them with you. And it's an invitation to all the community to show up as well as the people in the crowd and up here. So I'll leave you at that.
You have the date and time?
Yes, I'm gonna give it to you right now. When, January 20th, 2025, ITC Commons, room 155, and it's from 10 to 11:15. And we're gonna have some participation from Mountain View's gonna have one of their teachers come out, and we're gonna have some kids do a few presentations. And we got a pretty good speaking group that's gonna talk. So it's all inclusive. And so I just encourage you to show up. And if it's okay, can I
Yes, sure.
Please.
approach and leave these with you?
Yes.
Please do, James.
I don't want no Secret Service shooting out here.
You know, James, the Real Raiders are looking for a coach and a general manager. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, this is my Super Bowl team from Roswell, 2024, 9 and 10-year-olds. So my professional team might not be that good, but my kids can play some ball.
Always have.
And thank you for y'all's time.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, next we have Mr. Fred Telling. Fred, can you identify yourself for the record, please, and tell us why you're here.
Mayor Jennings, distinguished members of the council, my name is Fred Telling. I have the honor and pleasure of being the chairman and the chief executive officer for the National Championship Air Races. And I appreciate this time on your agenda. I wanted to rise in deep appreciation for what has been an incredible effort on behalf of not only the city of Roswell, Chaves County, and actually on behalf of the state more broadly, and the entire southeastern New Mexico region, in making a case for why Roswell Air Center is in fact the best location for us to be able to race safely and continue the tradition of the Reno Air Race closed course pylon racing that's been going on for 59 years. Here, given that they decided that they no longer wanted us to be able to race there, they'd like to develop their airport. So their loss is Roswell's gain. There are many challenges that exist, but the fact of the matter is the Air Center, the core staff, the mayor has, all of the people that we've met with, have been extraordinarily dedicated to identifying and addressing each of the challenges we put forward. As Bobby, Board Commissioner said, we're in fact ahead on many bits of schedule, and if we didn't have snow and winter weather, construction would already be beginning. So we're looking forward to bringing the races here. Just next week alone, as was mentioned, class presidents from all 7 classes will be here. Each of the classes are bringing a couple of aircraft to fly the courses that have been laid out and initially approved by the Federal Aviation Administration. Officers from the FAA will be here monitoring what we're doing. The next most significant event will be in May, our Pylon Racing School, which will have over probably 100 aircraft with anywhere from 4 to 10 crew for each, so it'll be itself a small economic benefit to the community. But in the long run, the most important thing is this has traditionally brought nearly $90 to $100 million worth of economic benefit in Reno and the region, and we are hoping we're going to be able to see perhaps not all of that initially, but I'm committed to Secretary Lansing that I'm quite optimistic that we'll see something close to an $80 million regional impact. We're working with consulting firms within the state to undertake these economic impact studies, and so all in all, I myself am hoping to find a residence here. We're committed to being here. I've been a racer in the past. I know that I won't live long enough to see 60 years into the future, but I do believe that we're going to be able to establish a home here that will add luster, economic benefit to the community, and many, many long-term successful events within this community that I think will be of significant advantages. So I have to thank each and every one of you. Many of you were deeply involved in the process. And for those who weren't, you just missed an opportunity to see the last races in Reno. But come September 10th through 14th, we look forward to the relaunch of the National Championship Air Races here in Roswell, and it's due in large measure to the leadership of the mayor, many of the members of the Aviation Commission, and frankly, in the implementation of the key people that are here. So I thank you very much, and that was short enough. Thank you, Mayor. Take any questions if there are any.
Do you have questions of Mr. Cullen?
Thank you.
Seeing none? Thank you, and good luck house hunting. So, okay, thank you all very much. And now we have, is there anyone in the public that did not sign up that would care to speak on any item to come before the council today? Is there anyone in the audience who would care to speak? Third time? Mr. Rowe, would you care to speak?
No, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Chicken. All right. Okay, so, sorry. He threw a golf club through my godparents' house with, skylight one time. Tried to kill him. Okay, so, next, moving right along, we have item 9, to hold a public hearing on zoning case number 24-017, the CAN, request for a variance to R-S rural subdivision of residential distance requirements zone change to a floating zone C-CAN, commercial cannabis, and conditional use permits to operate an adult use retail cannabis establishment in the C2 Community Commercial Zoning District at 3606 North Main Street, Suite 500. Councilman Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we hold a public hearing on zoning case 24-017.
We have a motion by Councilman Hildebrand. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second by Councilor Johnson. Okay, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor Jennings, members of the council. We have zoning case 24-017, CAN, the cannabis case before you. This is a request for approval of a variance, a zone change to the C-CAN floating zone, and a conditional use permit to operate an adult use retail cannabis establishment located at 3606 North Main Street, Suite 500, in the C2 Community Commercial Zoning District. The variance request is to the adjacent RS Rural Suburban Residential Zoning District distance requirements. The property under consideration is adjacent to a vacant RS zoning district. There's a zone change to the floating zone, the C-CAN, the commercial cannabis zone. as well as a conditional use permit with conditions of approval in Appendix F of your packet. And the tenant space is in Starlight Plaza. It's a new retail plaza development right there next to Silver Law. This is the staff photo of the new building, and the tenant space will be in the far northern tenant space there. As you can see, the property is in the commercial corridor, zone C2. And the comprehensive plan, master plan, future land use scenario shows it in the commercial corridor. I've only had one telephone inquiry that was based on the article published in the newspaper. 0 oral protests and 0 written protests. On December 17th, 2024, the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval of this case and voted 5-0. And based on all that, we ask you to hold a public hearing and vote. We do have Mr. Caleb Cortez in the audience to speak on behalf of Nomad Cannabis. Mr. Cortez is the operation manager for Nomad. I stay up for questions.
Okay, Mr. Cortez, would you care to speak?
We need to swear him in.
Pardon?
We need to swear him in.
Oh, you'll have to be sworn in. Great
Would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Caleb Cortez, and I'm the operations manager for Nomad Cannabis. I've been with them for 3 years, since before we received our first license for our Tatum facility. Since then, we've grown the brand to 3 retail locations, 2 manufacturing facilities, 1 grow and 1 consumption lounge. We currently have retail locations in Hobbs, Tatum, and Ruidoso. This location here in Roswell will be our 4th retail location, and it will only be a retail location. There will be no on-site consumption. In each city, we have a team member on city council or chamber of commerce that attend every meeting and event. We also participate in any and every community event, food drive, toy drive, and any charitable event that we're allowed to be a part of. And we plan to do the same thing here in Roswell and to be an involved and valued member of the community. The building that we plan on going into is owned by Nadeem Cassis, who also owns our Hobbs location at 3501 North Grimes. We've been doing business with Mr. Cassis for some time now and plan to continue doing so. He also owns the Cass Plaza here in town at 2303 North Main Street, which is where Dreams Dispensary is located. So the layout and compliance should be similar to that location. And to close out, I just want to thank each and every one of you for your time and taking the time to review this case. And I stand for questioning.
Okay. We have Councilor Howerson.
So first off, I live in that neighborhood. And imagine my surprise when I drive down the street and I see your signs up. And I called our city attorney and I said, did we approve this? And no. So you were being presumptuous. You disregarded our due process. We did not approve anything, and you didn't even wait for any kind of public hearing. So to put up the signs well before you just assumed and took us for granted that we would approve this. And I have a real problem with that.
Yes, but when we apologize that we were unaware that the signs were going to cause conflict like that, and it was against your guys' policy. And we did have the signs taken down, and we plan to abide by any ordinance that you guys have.
Well, I'm not saying, I don't think you broke any policy by putting them up. You just assumed we were going to approve this, and you went ahead and put the signs up before we even discussed any of this. I think you put them up before it even went to P&Z.
Well, and we've been waiting on this location for close to 2 years now. We've been talking with Nadeem since before he broke ground on that location. And so we've had the signs in place since over a year ago. And we didn't mean to come off anyway by putting them up. We just know in every other city we followed compliance and everything just went smooth for us. And so we plan to do the same thing and do good business here, the same way we have in other cities. And we did get them taken down and they're sitting, I don't know where they're at right now, but the company took them back and we're gonna have to pay to have them come back out and put them back up. And we've actually paid more having them take them down and put them up than the actual signs themselves cost.
Okay, do we have further comments? Council lady or?
I do have a question. You do not plan to make it in consumption on site or make it a lounge like you had? That's not your plan? That's not the plan that you know of?
No, ma'am, it's not. It's gonna be a retail location and that will never change.
Okay. That's my only question.
Any further questions? Okay, no comments. We have a motion, well, we better have a motion first, so. We had a motion, that's right. So we have a second by Councilman Johnson. So, okay, if the clerk would, we've had a public hearing. Thank you, you can sit down and is there anyone for this facility on 3606 North Main, Suite 500? Is there anybody in favor of it? Is there anybody opposed to it in the audience? Anybody wants to speak? Okay, all right. Okay, we're seeing no further questions from the council. Okay, if the clerk would call the roll.
Counselor Johnson?
Yes.
Counselor Halverson?
No.
Counselor Arnold?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
No.
Counselor Hildenbrand?
Aye.
Counselor Cabin?
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa?
Yes.
Counselor Corn?
Yes.
Counselor Marujo?
No.
Motion passes 6-3.
By a vote of 6 in the affirmative and 3 in the negative, the motion passes the council. And that's pretty close. You had to have 6 votes. So that was pretty close there on item 10. Next, we go to item 9. We have Item 10. Okay, next we have item 10, which is to hold a public hearing proposed on ordinance 24-23 for emergency loan funding from the New Mexico Environment Department for sewer repairs required at a historical flooding disaster in October of 24. Councilman Corn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we hold a public hearing on ordinance 2423. It's an emergency loan funding from the Mexico Environmental Department for sewer repairs required after historical flooding. And because this is a public hearing and because we haven't started proceeding, I would like to ask unanimous consent that you've got a document that was handed out to you. There's a language variation in the new document that's not in your packet. And it was a negotiated deal with the folks in Santa Fe, and I'll yield to Mr. McCormack to take it from there.
We have a motion for it, but we need a second before we can amend it. So do we have a second for ordinance 24-23?
Second.
Pardon me.
Marujo.
Marujo, Councilman Marujo.
Okay, and then if I could ask for unanimous consent to make this document it's an amended document that was placed in front of at your desk tonight. This is.
There was a picture.
You have one more copy, James?
Yeah.
I apologize. I product got handed out, that wasn't my part of the deal. But this is required, required language changes were made, or we don't get the money. So, Mr. McCormack. Oh, do you want to call for a vote on that first?
Okay, so we have a motion to amend the ordinance in our book and replace it with ordinance number 24-23 that was distributed to the council members today. Is there any further discussion? We do a voice vote, is that all right? Madam Clerk?
Yes.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have an amended bill, or amended ordinance. Mr. McCormick.
Mr. Mayor, councilors, thank you. So this is the public hearing for ordinance 2423. So this is for the emergency loan that New Mexico Environment Department has offered us to assist with funding our sewer repairs for damages after the flooding. So the terms of the loan is $1,040,000 they'll provide to us. 25% is principal forgiveness, 75% loan. The intent is that the 75% loan is repaid via our FEMA reimbursement. So we would file for FEMA reimbursement for these damages. Once we receive that, we would repay New Mexico Environment Department. There's also a provision in the document that if something falls through with our FEMA reimbursement and they don't reimburse us for some reason, the Mexico Environment Department is willing to change the entire loan amount to be forgiven. And I'll stand for questions.
Okay, we have questions from members of the committee. Would you explain where this project is, or is this the 22 or 24 or 42 inch water line on through the property along the Hondo River?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, this funding is for that, intended for that repair. Yes, sir.
Okay. And those are there was 800 feet or something of this 24 or 42 inch pipe that was it was encased in the wall of the Hondo River, and when the river got so wild, it washed that 800 feet of pipe away. So
Yes, sir.
So that's where we are. Okay. Any questions from members of the council? No questions? Okay. Do you have anything else
No, sir.
to bring up? Okay. No questions from the council? Anyone in the audience care to speak for or against or anything about it? Okay. So that being the case, on a motion by Councilman Corn, second by Councilman Marujo, to vote, the clerk will call the roll on ordinance 24-23 for an emergency loan funding from the Mexico Environment Department for sewer repairs that occurred after our historical flooding disaster in October of 2024. Clerk will call the roll. This takes 6 votes.
Counselor Johnson?
Yes.
Counselor Halverson?
Yes.
Counselor Arnold?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
Yes.
Counselor Hildebrand?
Aye.
Counselor Cabin?
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa?
Yes.
Counselor Corn?
Yes.
Counselor Marujo?
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
Okay, so we have passed omission item. Thank you. Ordinance. Okay, next we go to item 11. We go to item 12. This is oh my gosh. This is to consider for approval that a nomination for City Council Ward 3 vacancy. Councilman Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With the resignation of Councilor Chapel, we have a vacancy, so your nomination for this position is Christopher Cortez. So I move that we approve that nomination.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Hildebrand, seconded by Counselor Cavan. Okay. First of all, Mr. Cortez, would you mind coming forward and introducing yourself to the council, and you might tell them about your experience and what you do for a living? And
okay. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my name is Christopher R. Cortez, but you can call me Chris. I'm the operations manager at Atkins Engineering Associates here in Roswell. I'm not an engineer, so I want to make sure that's clear in the record. Atkins Engineering is a second-generation engineering firm here in Roswell. We do water rights, land surveying, and environmental work, including environmental drilling. As an operations manager, I basically manage most of those functions, have participated in those functions. Right now, I do a lot of water rights work, working with municipalities, farmers, ranchers, government agencies. Pretty much, if you know much about water rights, everyone uses water rights. Worked with the DOT before, various municipalities, and just want to say that I'm really honored to be selected here. Look forward to the opportunity to work with you all, work with staff, and I'll have much. Stand for any questions. I know many of you. If I don't know any of you, I hope to get to know you. But if you have any questions for me, I certainly would answer any of them. So.
okay, there's Mr. Cortez. I've known him for a while, and I just met him around town doing water work and doing engineering work. When the vacancy came up, some of the things that we were looking for, or I was looking for, was someone who had volunteered and done work for the city before, or served on committees or done other committee work or things for the city in the area of volunteering. And I found that he had been on 2 or 3 different zones. He spent a couple years on planning and zoning. He spent a year with our master plan, or 2 years with our master plan, and he spent some other time in one of them in
it was the airport.
Airport committee.
Yes,
and so, to me, he was looking out about things. I know he works for an engineering company, but he was looking out about things in our community to make our community better and to learn about it. So it would help him in his job, but it would also help. It would help our community, and that's where he came, where I ever met him and saw him. And when I was looking for someone, I thought he met a lot of qualifications that it would take to help move our city down the road, and someone who would stay working with the city long enough because I think we've had some challenges that this council has had to meet, and I think this is someone who would, in the long run, as we go on down the road, he's somebody who would stay here and stay in tune enough with the city and its governance to make sure that we solve the problems that come before us. And that's why I feel that he's extremely well qualified for this position. Now, are there any questions you all would care to ask Mr. Cortez? Gosh, you couldn't let him off that easy?
Yeah.
Something.
It'll be nice to him today, Mr. Mayor. A month from now, all bets are off.
Mr. Rolk, would you care to say anything for him? It's obvious you came here and sat next to him all day.
I'll say a couple things.
Uh-oh, it started.
There it goes.
It's already started.
Didn't plan on it. I just planned to be here sitting with my friend. A few things I can say about Chris. He's one of the smartest men I've ever met. He's as honest as the day is long. He's one of the most caring individuals I've ever met. Him and I met actually after the passing of my dad. His dad died about a year later. Very early on, we created a very, to me, I hope to him as well, meaningful friendship. As far as what he can do for the city, he's methodical, caring, and all these things that we would find as a friend, but also as a leader, as a coworker, and all these things. So that's all I have to say. But he's a wonderful person. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Okay, any questions? Okay, if we could then, I would ask that the clerk call the roll on the appointment of Mr. Christopher Cortez to the City Council Ward 3 vacancy that we have. If the clerk could call the roll.
Counselor Johnson?
Yes.
Counselor Halverson?
Yes.
Counselor Arnold?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
Yes.
Counselor Hildenbrand?
Aye.
Counselor Cavan?
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa?
Yes.
Counselor Corn?
Yes.
Counselor Marujo?
Yes.
Okay, by
That was
the vote,
close.
9 in the affirmative and none in the negative. Be the last time I don't have long, but Mr. Cortez, congratulations on being appointed to the City Council Ward 3 position, and as soon as we get you sworn in, we get Judge Baldock or somebody will get, we can find a judge of your choosing or a person of your choosing to swear you in. We'll get that done and you can join voting with us. Welcome to the Roswell City Council. Thank you. Okay, next we have the election of Mayor Pro Tem. Councilman Hildebrand, item 14.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wish to nominate Councilor Juliana Howerson for Mayor Pro Tem.
Second.
Who was second? Who was? Council Lady Moore was the second. Okay, Councilman Hill, does anyone have any other names to place in the nomination? Does anyone have any other names to place in nomination? Does anyone have any other names to place in nomination? Seeing none?
One more time.
Three's not.
Three.
All right.
He wanted to run this meeting short.
I know, but I give her plenty of time. Okay, seeing that,
Mr.
Council.
Mayor, I'd like to, no, I won't nominate anybody else.
All right, Councilman Hildebrand, you have a motion before us and a
Yes.
second. Would you, is there, if the clerk would call the roll?
Mr. Mayor, I would gladly turn over the Mayor Pro Tem duties to Councilor Howerson. It's been an honor for me being selected by this council for this last year, and so I gladly hand this over to her.
Thank you.
Does that mean she has to move to my left side?
No.
Or
You
can she stay on the right side?
You set the seat assignments, so wherever you want her to sit.
All right. Okay, well, we'll figure that out. That'll be fun next meeting.
Yeah.
New pro tem.
Okay, so, okay, on a motion by Councilman Hildebrand, a second by Council Lady Moore for the election of Council Lady Juliana Howerson as Mayor Pro Tem of the Senate. If the clerk would call, or excuse me, council for election of Mayor Pro Tem of the City Council. Sorry about that, I was the only one. So, if the clerk would call the roll.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Counselor Halverson?
Roll call myself, yes.
Sure you can.
Counselor Arnold?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
Yes.
Counselor Hildebrand?
Aye.
Counselor Cavan?
Yes.
Counselor Oropesa?
Yes.
Counselor Corn?
Yes.
Counselor Marujo?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Yay.
Thank you. Welcome. You can now officially change the toilet paper. holders in the city hall.
Yeah, you didn't know that happened.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you about that.
You're on a roll.
Yeah.
All right, and now, so next we have, okay, we've got all that done. Now we have, for our city manager, would you care to make any announcements or anything?
Yes, sir. Mayor Jennings, members of the council, thank you. I'll keep it brief. Did want to announce that FEMA has extended its disaster recovery center operations out at the mall through January 35th or 31st. That's a really good thing for the community. It's gone really well in terms of the individual assistance. We know that over $15.7 million have been distributed to Roswell and Chavis County residents that were impacted by the flood. And FEMA has worked with us every step of the way, and so that's a real benefit to our community. I also want to let you know that the public entity assistance or public assistance that goes to public entities that apply for that, whether it's Chavis County, Dexter, Hagerman, and Roswell, began mid-December. We did start that scoping process. We have initially identified damages and estimates along with those. That process deadline is February 10th to get that completed before we start seeing reimbursement of things that occurred in relevance to the flood. But that is going good as well. And as mentioned at the previous council meeting, we have hired a consultant through a grant to help us with that process. It's new to all of us. And they have recently made contact with the county, and we're working together with the county, with Dexter, with Hagerman, and that seems to be going very well. In addition to that, if I could have Chief Miller come up, please. And let's see, they are not here. Bad idea. I think we've got to announce that unfortunately we're losing Chief Matt Miller. He's retiring. So his last day will be effective 31st. Yeah, not the 35th, but 31st.
Can we make it 35th?
No, well, yeah, we would. But really appreciate Chief Miller and everything he's done for this city. 22 years with the city. Would you like to say?
No, I'll get choked up. Oh, Mayor, Council, I would like to thank the city of Roswell for 22 of the best years of my entire life. I know Chad and Mike both, and some of you guys that I've gotten a chance to talk to. Now, I've had this opportunity and plan in place for almost 10 years, not quite, but almost 10 years I've been working towards it. And my partner that I'm actually going to be going into business with when I retire, we were talking just a while back because, like I said, that was always going to be the plan, but I've not been in any hurry to leave or retire from the city and the fire department. And so just a while back, we were visiting on the phone, and he told me, he said, Bubba, you know, I'm almost 72, and I'm not going to do this forever. So if you're going to get up, if you're going to come do this with me, you better come do it, and let's go. So I kind of teared up and said, well, I guess you made up my mind for me. That's what I'm going to have to do. So that's where I'm headed and what I'm going to do. I'll still be around. I still love this town. The biggest thing is there's no way I could have had all the time and all the money in the world, and I still couldn't have done what I've gotten from the city and the fire department when it comes to training and experience to go and do this next chapter of my life. So again, thank you all very, very much.
Thank you, Chief.
So Matt, I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with you. I've learned so much from you and your staff, and I wish you all the best.
You know, I did miss one thing. That's the best best group of guys on the planet. PD's pretty darn good guys too, but don't tell them I said that. But the fire department's by far the best.
Anyone else care to say anything?
Better have another snowball fight tomorrow. Better have another snowball fight tomorrow.
We'll have a big one tomorrow. Y'all are invited too.
You know, one thing should be said about Chief Miller.
Sir.
You know, we lost more fire trucks in one night than we ever did. We've ever had, you know, 4 2-ladders and 2 brand new trucks, and, you know, we also saved 350 people thereabouts, or whatever it was, for the number of people. We saved more people than we ever dreamed we'd ever have to do, and more than most chiefs ever do in their entire career. And so, all in all, I think you're still a winner. You know, it's a little tough, but, you know, and, you know, I hate to see you go. I think you've done a good job with direction of that, and I would probably say, being a volunteer firefighter for a long time and a chief, and where we worked with, where we learned to work real well with Lewis Jones and Mike Matthews, I want to say thank you, because I think you lived up to what I think Lewis Jones would have wanted you to do. And I thank you very much for that, because you know, you've got the county fire departments, and it's what Lewis started, and it's kept us all together. And when we lost that stuff, to go down there and see our guys go to Ruidoso, when they had their fire, they went back, we helped them and everything else, and to come back, when we had our flood, who the hell, the first time I go in the fire station downtown, who was in there? Lincoln County. And you know, it was a tribute, because I think you've shown people we care in our department. All of our officers are very well trained, probably the best in the state in first aid and helping people. And I want to say I think you did a fantastic job, and thank you very much.
Thank you, that means a lot.
So, thank you.
Likewise, Chief Miller, since I've come on as the city manager, has helped me tremendously and has always had an outstanding attitude, and I know he's going to be sorely missed by the community, so thank you, Chief. Another announcement regarding our water department, water and wastewater. As you know, Lorenzo Sanchez retired recently, and many of you know, some of you may not, Andrew Valdez has been offered and accepted the position that Lorenzo held as the superintendent over both wastewater and water. I think we're going to be successful with Andrew's leadership over there. We have also made an offer, and it's been accepted for the superintendent over potable water, previous position that was held by Mr. Glenn. That person is George Peterson. Some of you may know him, some of you may not. He's a longtime resident of Roswell. He's been working in Carlsbad with their water systems for the last few years. He comes on with the double 4 certifications, and he will start Monday. Yes, sir. And I'd certainly take any questions.
The double 4 certification, those are you have to have to work in water and wastewater.
Yes,
so that's very beneficial. Okay, any further questions? And Mr. Matthews, do you have anything yet? Anybody else, employees like to say anything? Pardon? We're done. Well, you know that's all. Remember the one chant we have to have is go Irish, okay? And with that, will you all go to the game and all those, okay.
Oh, hey, everybody be safe out there on the streets. It's gonna be slick.
So bad, the only place we can probably get to see the end of the game, Lewis, is